The organ music in St. Patrick's Cathedral surged, hesitated, then lurched forward again for the third time, like a heart skipping beats. A nervous cough bounced off the vaulted ceilings, swallowed by the hush of 400 guests shifting in their pews. Outside the carved mahogany doors of the bridal suite, the whispers had already started, sharp, venomous little arrows slicing through the air. Natalie Harper caught fragments of them even through the thick wood. He bailed. Classic Mark. Poor thing. Dumped on her big day. She stood frozen in her custom Vera Wang gown, layers of ivory silk and crystal beads that now felt like a beautiful cage. An hour late. Mark was an hour late. Her father, silver-haired and impeccable in his Tom Ford tux, paced the small antechamber like a man awaiting a verdict. "It's gridlock on 5th, honey," he said, voice thin. "He'll show." But his eyes betrayed him, wide, helpless. He squeezed her hand, then slipped out a side exit. "I'll check what's holding him up." Alone, the silence pressed in, heavy as the cathedral stones. Natalie's phone buzzed in her shaking grip. Mark's name lit the screen. Her pulse roared as she opened the text. "Can't do this. Sorry." The room spun. Air punched out of her lungs. The phone slipped, clattering against marble. A raw, animal sound tore from her throat. She sank into a velvet chair, body convulsing with silent sobs. Mascara, supposedly waterproof, streaked black down her cheeks. Everything she'd built. 5 years, the ring, the future, obliterated in 12 words. The door creaked. She braced for her dad's pitying face. Instead, a stranger stepped in. Tall, broad-shouldered, with jet-black hair cropped short and eyes the color of a winter ocean, piercing, almost unnaturally blue. His charcoal Brioni suit fit like it was born on him, exuding quiet, lethal confidence. Dr. Ethan Cole. Star cardiothoracic surgeon at Mount Sinai, where her father chaired the board. They'd met once at a black tie gala, brief handshake. Polite nod. Now here he was, closing the door, sealing them in sudden privacy. He didn't waste words on sympathy. He crossed the room, knelt to her level. Up close, he smelled like crisp linen, cedar, and the faint antiseptic trace of an oar. "They're expecting a wedding, Ms. Harper," he said, voice low, steady, cutting through her fog like a scalpel. She blinked up at him, tears blurring the edges. "What? A wedding?" His gaze held hers, unflinching. "Let's give them one." Natalie stared, convinced grief had snapped something in her brain. "You're insane." "Your fiancé's a coward," Ethan continued, tone flat, factual. He chose the most public gut punch possible. "But you don't have to let that define the rest of today, or you." He glanced toward the doors, as if seeing the crowd beyond. 300 people flew in. Family. Friends. Investors. They came to celebrate you. I can be the groom they watch walk down the aisle. The audacity stole her breath. "Why the hell would you do that?" A shadow crossed his face, something dark, guarded. "Maybe I need a win today too." Then softer, almost reluctant, "Or maybe I can't stand watching someone with your spine get torn apart for entertainment." He extended his hand. Long fingers, steady, surgeon precise. "Your call, Natalie. Walk out there as the jilted bride everyone pities, or walk out as Mrs. Cole." She stared at his palm. Imagined the sea of faces. Pity, gossip, Mark's smug ex smirking from row 6. Her father's shame. The tidal wave of humiliation. Ethan's offer was madness. A lifeline forged in lunacy. Desperation won. She placed her trembling hand in his. "Okay." He gave a single, decisive nod. Rose. Pulled a pristine white handkerchief from his pocket, dabbed gently at her ruined makeup, clinical, careful, yet strangely tender. Leaned close, breath warm against her ear. Pretend it's real. Just for now. He opened the doors. The organ swelled triumphantly. The congregation, poised for disaster, froze in collective shock. Ethan offered his arm. Ready, wife? They stepped into blinding light. The aisle stretched forever. Gasps rippled like wind through leaves. Natalie fixed her eyes on the altar, Ethan's solid presence anchoring her. Her father stood at the front, face ashen, mouth working soundlessly. Ethan leaned in, murmured something low, "Trust me," and her dad nodded, stunned but subdued. The officiant, Father O'Malley, peered over bifocals like they'd both lost their minds. "Change of groom," Ethan said calmly, authority radiating. "Proceed." The ceremony blurred. When vows came, Natalie's rehearsed promises to Mark turned to dust. Ethan sensed it, squeezed her hand. Ethan," he said, eyes locked on hers, voice ringing clear, "take you, Natalie, to be my wife. I vow to stand as your shield, your partner, your safe harbor. In chaos, I'll be steady. In pain, I'll be yours. This I promise." Improvised. Perfect. Devastatingly sincere sounding. Her turn. Voice shaking but rising, "I, Natalie, take you, Ethan, to be my husband. I promise to trust your strength, to meet your courage with my own, to stand beside you, from this day forward." Father O'Malley stammered the pronouncement. "Husband and wife. You may kiss the bride." Time narrowed to them. Ethan lifted her veil with reverent hands, thumbs brushing her cheeks. "Just pretend," he whispered. Then he kissed her, not polite. Not performative. Deep, slow, claiming. One hand cradled her nape, fingers publicly married to a stranger. Tears came quietly, body trembling. He handed her a fresh handkerchief, turned to the window. Gave her space to shatter privately. When sobs eased, he spoke. "This wasn't charity. I needed a wife. To the woman I saved from humiliation? It's airtight PR kills the narrative." He met her gaze. 1 year. We play the perfect couple in public. Private, separate lives. At the end, quiet divorce. Irreconcilable differences. Clean break. And me, voice hoarse. Financial security. Generous stipend. Penthouse suite in my building, your own wing. Discretion. Time to rebuild away from the spotlight. Mutually beneficial. Cold. Transactional. Yet it was escape. "Why me?" she asked. "Because you're believable. Unplanned. No one suspect setup." Pause. "And in that room, before the tears, I saw fire in your eyes. Not broken. Fighting. That kind of strength sells the story." She exhaled. Deal. His building towered over Midtown, a glass monolith. Penthouse, stark modern lines, marble, 360-degree views of Manhattan glittering like diamonds. Natalie still wore her gown, absurd now. He showed her the East Wing, sprawling suite, private entrance. "Your space. West Wing's mine." No crossover. Rules followed, crisp as a contract. Separate lives. No prying. No shared meals unless public. Public perfection. Hand-holding. Adoring glances. Oscar-worthy. Past off limits. Our history starts today. Then, the dress. 100 tiny buttons down